or any assistance from anyone else. He's just absolutely flying out front. And nobody can get within half a second of him by the look of the lap times. But Fletcher catching up with a bit of a train now. Tim Rutten now behind James Forsythe. And then they've got Javaisha just in front of them as well. So this is all helping Mark catch up to them. Look at the pace that they can carry around there. The long right-hander as they go down the hill. Shivlak. The car sort of compresses at the bottom. Massive send down the inside. Fletcher. Tim Rutten doesn't fight it too hard. He sort of saw that coming, I imagine. Go down the hill. But Mark has to make his move and stick it down the inside. It certainly worked for him. We'll have to see whether he can continue this move forward, because as you all know, when you do move forward in a field, no matter the calibre, usually the tougher nuts to crack, as Murray Walker once said, are at the front of the field. But he's got Forsythe and Javaisha now. Now these two are both in the precision class, which is important. Rutten, who we just got past then, is in the consistency class, so different classes to one another.
And so we should be back with the... Oh, my word!
What that was Forsythe. Forsythe had an issue there.
Yes, indeed. Just apologies for whatever technical issues that's befallen us. It's that the YouTube stream decided to shut itself down somehow. I have no clue what happened. But we're back up, we're running, and we're on to it here. Javaisha with company now from Mark Fletcher, who is indeed a man on a mission, now up into 7th place already, as he seemed to got away with that spin very luckily indeed. From the camera angle we had, it sort of looked like he hit the wall, but it might have been a soft touch because there's no real sign of damage to the car. I think that's gonna make it possible for him to make a strong return over the final 4 or 5 laps here.
Yeah, it's incredible how quickly 7 laps fly by, isn't it, to be honest? Doesn't feel like a minute since we started the race. Feels like we've only just completed the first lap, to be fair, and everybody's now suddenly fighting for where they're going to end up in this first encounter of the evening. Good recovery so far from Fletcher, though, but you have to say, Zemstra, who's just done another fastest lap of the race, is really the man on fire right now. I don't think anybody is going to get near him at the end, and of course this is going to be his home round as well. There's only one circuit on iRacing based here in the Netherlands, and Zemstra is showing he's an absolute expert at it. With Javaisha now having to be an expert at defending from Mark Fletcher, as the two of them get nice and friendly with one another. Still, great racing. Forsythe close with Van Dalen just behind him now. As we look forward from Van Dalen over the crest of the hill. Quite bright conditions at the moment, aren't they, Hasse? A lot of reflections on the circuit, a lot of bloom from the sun. It can get quite distracting even in the sim.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of lighting settings where I'd seriously consider taking a pair of sports sunglasses on, like a good pair of Oakleys or something like that. And the better the screen you have, the more it's a thing. Actually, I've really found it working for myself in some situations, at least. And yes, indeed, you can get blinded by the light in true Michael McDonald fashion here. Mark Van Dalen, though, is trying to get that run on James Forsythe. They're having their own little fight here for what is 10th and 11th overall, 7th and 8th in the precision class. Let's take a moment to appreciate Kevin Zemstra here in the 25 up ahead. It's forged clear. And talking of appreciation, Chaz, Ben Hoffman, top consistency driver at the moment, 2nd overall, though being hounded ever so slightly by now here by Kevin Poon, just about a 2nd down.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, is Hoffman. We saw in previous seasons how quick he was, but he just had the odd incident here and there. He always seemed to get caught up in other people's troubles. Speaking of troubles, here's Adam Oshiwala, just getting a little bit of a knock after his spin there, but he's going to recover from that one pretty quickly, I'd imagine. And Craig Schill having a spin as well and joining the club. Good to see Craig back out there in this championship. Paul Smith, my mate at Team Mad, he's also had a spin. Now this car is very prone to it, as you've just seen there. When You turn it into the corner, you come off the brakes, it just unloads the weight that little bit, and it just floats around in one of the most frustrating ways, even more frustrating than the way that iRacing's GT3 cars spin around. It just floats, and there's really nothing you can do about it. You can stamp on the brakes and get the car stopped, but you're still going to go into a long sideways slide, and you better wait till that thing stops before you let go of those brakes, otherwise it'll just keep rotating.
But it's also one of those cars that kind of need to be able to get the rear along with it, otherwise it's just going to be dragging on with the understeer. That's the balance of cars like this as well. They don't have that much weight to keep the traction on the rear, especially at slow speeds. Mark Fletcher now looking left, right, and center, but this time around he's actually looking to defend from Tim Rutten, who's come up from sort of out of nowhere here. Yeah, indeed, on the penultimate lap of this race. And
Tim
Jovic
closed up nicely there, actually, didn't he? I was just going to say, Tim closed up really, really well out of nowhere. Maybe a mistake from Mark on that lap is what brought them together, because Mark overtook Tim and then started to disappear. So interesting inconsistency, I should say, for Mark. But he's been very much in the thick of it so far. He's really been sort of the man to watch as this race has gone on, hasn't he, Mark Fletcher? He's put all the work in. But after that spin earlier on, he's had to do that. It's not like he's had it all his own way. Polmans and Dennis Viranga battling together. Going through the midsection of the circuit now. Very difficult to get a decent run out of the hairpin. Over the crest of the hill. All the way down. Long sweeping right-hander. You've got to have real commitment down there. Real commitment. But final lap of the race now for Kevin Zemstra here, Hasse, and he is flying, doing fastest lap after fastest lap after fastest lap.
It's been untouchable so far. The Dutchman on home ground indeed. And he got put in a dream position as well from row 2, but one of 3 cars to finish within 3/4 tenths or 3/4 hundredths of a second to be precise and to be correct. Oh, and there's been a problem, by the way, for Dries Moody here, who's gone off, and he's stationary. This is Fletcher. This is what we're trying to recall images of. I'd like to see what happened to Dries here. Looks...
That was very strange. It's like the car went wide, and he wasn't doing anything to say. That's a hardware failure. He's still
I was just about to say, yeah, it has to be a hardware failure, because... how could it be anything else? It looked so strange indeed. Looked like a failure on the car. Like a sort of a suspension part that failed or something like this.
Yeah.
The equivalent to here. Mark Fletcher still trying for it on Jovic here on the final lap. He's on the outside. Oh, the car's going left, right, and center as he's fighting it to keep control. He does a very good job indeed in the 11. You think, oh, well, that's a late lunge as well, but he gets blocked off. Jovic seems a keen defender as well, Chaz, and it's not going to be an easy one.
It's not indeed. Kevin Zemstra takes the win. Dominant performance by Kevin. Ben Hoffman finishes second. Puan finishes in third place. Freitas gets fourth. Harrod is fifth. And Jovic just beat Fletcher to the line. Tim Rutten is going to be second in the consistency class. But that race flew by. That really caught me off guard then,
me as well.
Honestly, the last lap just disappeared. Where did that go?
I have no clue indeed. I realized that the guys in 7th, 8th position was coming through the final corner. All of a sudden, I wonder where the leaders are. Well across the line, of course. But that's what happens when you get this good racing. You get drawn in once in a while. Here, Erlenbroek. At the heavier end of affairs is indeed involved with Greg Parmenter. Two of them not really having made much of an impact. Parmenter, though, is 8th in Academy class. Gets a very fine run. Completes the lap there. It's been a race to forget, however, for Tobias Olsson. And it's going to be interesting to see just what he can do to come back from this one.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, these drivers can all have their own bad moments and poor results, low scores and so on. And that's why this format really helps them out, because the playoffs, for anybody that doesn't know, is 4 race meetings at a time. There's playoff A, 4 race meetings, and playoff B, 4 race meetings. You get a score in each of those sets of 4. Once we finish the first set of playoffs, the scores are reset to 0, and then we go for playoff B. Whichever pair of playoffs, or whichever set of playoffs, I should say, that you score more points in, is the score that you carry over to the last 2 race meetings, which are the championship finals. So these guys get 2 chances to sort out their scores over 4 race meetings. So it's how they bounce back